Morning, everybody. Hope you all had a great weekend. Happy Monday. You all look very tired. Especially when I came in and I spoke to you guys before this, since everybody was looking at me with half open eyes. All right. But a tiring weekend, that's okay. So as you know, today we have an assessment. It is the structure assessment that I talked to you guys about last week. Do you remember? And I made a study guide for you all, so you have a very good idea of what is going to be on it. I will give you 15 minutes to study the study guide, but also, if you have not turned it in, to complete it and turn it in. So I will set a timer for 15 minutes. You can study the study guide, or you can complete the study guide. If you have any questions, just as usual, go ahead and stop me and I'll answer your questions. So please open the study guide. One other thing, before I forget, you have access to this as well, but into this week, because this week is week 16, you have access to a review PowerPoint. All of this is on your study guide, as you can see. But a pre-made PowerPoint is available to you as well. As I always say, every student has their own way of studying, and every student has their own learning style, and that is okay. You have access to both the study guide and the PowerPoint. Whatever one works for you better is what you need to study. This is not the only review I will be doing. Just like always, I will do a full review. But as of now, there is almost 14 minutes left. So study however helps you. sure you have everything open. So everybody remember, this is meant for studying. Independent studying or group studying is both okay. But I'm expecting you to review the material and look over everything you have to study, not watch TikToks or YouTube. A reminder, there's multiple students that are not on the study guide. I need you to be on the PowerPoint or the study guide. This is meant for you to study, as there is a quiz today. guys really are tired. I saw at least a few heads pop up right when the alarm went off. So, we did a review in the other classes after the lessons. Last week you were given this study guide. You had the weekend to complete it. It is due, from what I put, it is due 15 minutes after class began, and I saw now everybody turned it in. So just as a brief review, as we are going to do more practice after this, a simple sentence contains one independent clause. So when you see a simple sentence, it has one independent clause. Do you remember what I told you about independent clauses? Independent clauses means it can make a sentence by itself. Independent. So when you see a dependent clause, it cannot make a sentence by itself. The best way to see if the clause is independent or dependent is to see if the sentence with the clause can make its own sentence. A compound sentence has two or more independent clauses, and it is also joined by a coordinating conjunction. These are a few examples of coordinating conjunctions. If you compare it to the first sentence, a simple sentence, as I said, it can stand by itself, but also, as I said when we reviewed before, if you add more to it, that's okay, it's still a sentence, but you do not need to add more. If you have a dependent clause, you need to have more. So if you see the example right here, the dog barked and the cat hissed. If you look at this by itself, it's joined by a coordinating conjunction, and that is the word and. I am going a little fast with this because I have reviewed the last few weeks, and we will have a little bit more practice before I assign you the assessment. A complex sentence contains one independent clause and one or more dependent clauses. It's often introduced by, but it's not always, but it usually is introduced by a subordinating conjunction. A few examples are right here. Because, although, since, and while. If you see in this example sentence, the first word, because the dog barked, the cat ran away. The subordinating conjunction in this example sentence is because. In a compound, complex sentence, if you remember what I told you in the previous reviews, it combines both compound and complex. That's why there's a hyphenated symbol right here. Two or more independent clauses, and at least one dependent clause. The example is, the dog barked, and the cat ran away because it was frightened. So I know I was fast with this review. That's because we did multiple reviews before this. You had the weekend to study, but also I made an answer key for this. Now, just as always, and as I always say before we take an assessment and I give you time to study before it, everybody has their own way of learning. Everybody has their own way of studying. That is okay. If you want to do a self-study, if you want to study by yourself, and if you only want to see the answer key and the study guide that you have, along with the PowerPoint that was pre-made for this week, can you sit in that back row? So can everybody stand up for me? Can you sit in the back row? If you want to play the review Kahoot, can you sit on the sides or in this row? So just as always, when we play a Kahoot, out of respect for anybody that needs quiet while they study, can you not make a lot of noise while we play the Kahoot? I understand you might get excited. I understand this is a fun game that many students like to play. But just out of respect for the students who need silence when they study, please try not to make a lot of noise. So everybody in that back row is doing self-study. All right, the lines are great. I'm just gonna assume you are. Anything you choose is okay. Anything you choose is okay. There are 20 questions in this Kahoot. I am expecting to spend 10 minutes, but it might not be 10 minutes. However long we take is okay. Just because I'm expecting to spend this much time on something doesn't mean I will spend that much time. It just depends on how fast you guys answer or how slow you guys answer. And both of them are okay. So if you are doing a self-study, if you want to study by yourself, you can have one of three things open. So the game pin is up here. I will post the answer key now. So if you want to study by yourself, the answer key is here. You can study either the study guide itself that you completed or the answer key, but you can also look at the slides. Just as a reminder, please keep the names appropriate. These names are fine. These names are okay. You guys are fine so far. You guys are teenagers. I feel like I have to remind you, keep it appropriate. When I announce the winner, I don't even know how to say this one. So whoever this is, and also this one. It's fine. If I can't say it, I'll just point to it. And again, you do not have to join this. It is okay if you do not join. But if you don't join, open one of the three materials available to you, one of the three things we're using to study, and use it to study. Is there any student that wants to join that has not joined yet? Okay. Is there any student that wants to join that has not joined yet? Right, great. These are interesting names. Now I'm going to start the game. Just remember, Out of respect for anybody who is studying and not joining the game, try to be as quiet as possible. I leave the answer on the board for a minute every time, so you have enough time to read it, even if you have the answer correct. Just remember, try to be as quiet as possible. By 1 point. First and second point case by 1 point. That was fast. Remember, when the answer is on the board, read the answer. Even if you answered correctly, even if you got the question correct, read the answer on the board. It's faster than the other one. So just remember, a dependent clause cannot make its own sentence. It was late. We stayed at the party. Stayed at the party. Can all be their own sentences. But because the word although is in front of it was late, it cannot be its own sentence. Because there needs to be supporting characters after it. You guys had a big reaction to this? A compound sentence uses a coordinating conjunction. Oh, there's a change. It's almost an even split. A simple sentence can have multiple phrases, but only one independent clause. Remember, only one independent clause in a simple sentence, but it can have multiple dependent clauses. It can also have multiple different phrases because of commas, because of different types of punctuation. But it can only have one independent clause. A simple sentence can only have one independent clause. It's okay. You guys are taking this very seriously. It is okay. At least we're reviewing now, because now you get your. I stuttered. At least we're reviewing now. That way you do not have this answered incorrectly on the assessment. Everybody answered this correctly. Good job. I'm happy about this. You guys all answered correctly. So remember, compound complex is a combination between the two. It's a combination between compound and complex. That was fast. Dependent clause, it cannot make its own sentence. So the rain stopped is not its own sentence. I misspoke. The rain stopped is its own sentence. While the storm raged outside is a half sentence. It cannot stand by itself. I misspoke the first time. The rain stopped is its own sentence. Same score. That was okay. Wow, that was fast. It's a compound sentence. Right. Next question. You all answered correctly. Good job. It usually does, but as I said when we were doing, it does not always contain a dependent clause. Usually, most of the time, but not every time. Once again, you guys are doing well so far. Complex sentences have no coordinating conjunctions, but it does include independent and dependent clauses. Do you remember what the words were for coordinating conjunctions? Although, but, and, it's in your study guide. So it contains both independent and dependent clauses, but has no coordinating conjunctions. After this, there's one more question. Last question. Final question. So for the top 5, the names up here, good job. You guys landed in the top 5. You all did very well on this Kahoot. Thank you all for being respectful. Even though you guys weren't yelling, your body language showed how frustrated you are throughout it. There were a lot of students like throwing themselves across the chair and the desk silently. I've never seen that done so silently before, so I'm impressed. You guys are very dramatic without actually being loud. So, With this structured quiz, there are 20 questions. You will have 30 minutes to complete this. I will set a timer for 30 minutes. I will set a timer for 30 minutes. Once I see everybody has this quiz open is when I will begin the timer. The reason why is because I don't want somebody having connection issues to have less time than anybody else. So again, you have 30 minutes to complete this assessment, and there are 20 questions. I'll begin in a few minutes. Is there anybody having connection issues or anything that prevents them from being able to access this? Okay, I will begin the 30-minute timer now. The timer will be up here as I'm walking around. If there's any questions that anybody has or any problems that anybody has, please stop me.
เป็นตัวไว
For any of the students still working, you have 10 minutes remaining. Okay, as I'm walking around, I saw everybody had completed the assessment. All right, everybody has turned in and completed the assessment. So, one question I saw that when I was walking around, most students were completely fine with this, but there were some students that spent a lot of time on this question. The question was identify all the simple sentences. Yeah? So the simple sentence, I think most of the students that had difficulty answering this was making this too complicated for themselves. They were overthinking this. A simple sentence has one independent clause. That means the clause itself can make its own sentence, but it only has one of them. If it's a long sentence that has several points that can be its own sentence, it is not a simple sentence. A simple sentence is just that, a simple sentence. It is one independent clause, just like this example, but also the example on the answer key. There's also another example. A sentence. If you look at the answer key, which was given to you, there are many examples of all four. But I think when I was walking around, you guys did answer it correctly, even the students that had a difficult time answering. I was looking at your answers as you were answering, you did answer correctly. But just know, sometimes the answer is simple. Sometimes the answer is easy. Do not make it harder than it has to be. But you all did well. When I was walking around, you all were doing well. So now, I have a surprise for you. Now that the assessment is over, I brought you guys cookies. Please only grab one. Please only grab one. Do you remember who? Do you remember who scored number 1 on the Kahoot? You did? I didn't ask the student's name. You guys had it. 21. You can share it with anybody. Who are the 2 students or 3 students that chose to study independently? Your second place. Okay. You can share it with him if you want. It's up to her. She had first place. There were a couple students that chose to study independently. Who were they? I don't want you feeling left out. That's why you didn't have a chance to go on the scoreboard, so I have something for those students. I have something for the students that chose to study by themselves and not play the Kahoot. As you did not have a chance to be on the scoreboard, I have something for you guys as well. I don't want it to be unfair. If you don't want to reveal yourself, that's fine. Why is nobody passing the cookies down right there? It's supposed to go on both sides. It's 2 different flavors. Did you guys get this one or the other one? Did you get vanilla or something? Okay. Remember, no 2 cookies. Don't grab 2 cookies. Just grab one. Grab one. Did anybody get 2? Because I have another class after this. I have another class after this. I want them to be able to receive one as well. You got 2? Can I have one of them back, please? Oh, you got 2? Only one or the other. Because I have another class after this. I have another class. Chocolate or vanilla?
ช็อกโกแลตอันนี้ใส่น้ำตาลเป็นเบาหวานใส่กัน
I don't have enough for the. I have enough for the next class as well. Okay, so for the rest of class, you see it's week 16 now. Introduction to personal experience speech